Dear friends, today is the feast of Saint Barnabas. The gospel for today's reflection taken from Matthew chapter 10 verses 7 to 13. This gospel speaks about the teaching of Jesus to the disciples on how to announce the good news of the kingdom to the lost sheep of Israel. They have to cure the sick, raise the dead, cleanse the lepers, drive out demons, announce what they have received gratuitously, provide themselves with no gold, no silver, no sandals, or staff, no sack, or a second tunic. Seek a house where they can be received until the end of the mission. Be bearers of peace. At the time of Jesus, there were various religious movements which, like him, were seeking a new way of living and of living together with others. For example, there were John the Baptist's disciples, the Pharisees, the Essenes, and others. Many of them formed communities of disciples and they would go around preaching and had their missionaries in different localities. But there was a great difference. The Pharisees, for example, when they went on mission, provided for their needs. They thought that they could not trust the food that the people would offer them because it was not always ritually pure. Because of this, they always carried a sack and money so as to be able to take care of what they would eat. In this way, the observance of the law of purity, instead of helping to overcome divisions, weakened the living of community values even more. The proposal of Jesus is quite different. His method was seen in the counsels which he gives to the apostles when he sends them on mission. Through this instruction, he tries to renew and recognize the communities of Galilee in a way that they would once again be the expression of the covenant, an example of the kingdom of God. Well, Jesus invites the disciples to announce the good news. They should say, "The kingdom of heaven is close at hand." Does it mean that the kingdom is close at hand? It does not mean the closeness of time, in the sense that it is only a short time and then the kingdom would come. The kingdom is close at hand means that it is already within reach of the people. It is already in their midst. That is what Luke chapter 17, verse 21 says. It is good to take a new look to be able to see its presence or proximity. The coming of the kingdom is not the fruit of our observance, as the Pharisees wanted, but it becomes present in the actions which Jesus recommends to the apostles: to cure the sick, to raise the dead, to cleanse the lepers, to drive out demons. Jesus says to cure, to raise, to purify, to drive out. The sick, the dead, the lepers, the possessed were all excluded from living together with others, and they were excluded in the name of God. They could not participate in the life of the community. Jesus orders the disciples to accept these people, to include them. The kingdom of God becomes present in these gestures of acceptance and inclusion. In these gestures of human gratuity is shown God's love, which reconstructs the communal living and men's interpersonal relationship. Well, in verses 9 to 10 in today's gospel passage, Jesus very clearly says, "Do not take anything, unlike other missionaries. The apostles can take nothing. Provide yourselves with no gold or silver, not even with copper for your belts, with no sack for the journey, or a spare tunic or footwear or staff, for the laborer deserves his wages. The only thing which you can and should take is peace." This means that they have to trust in the hospitality and sharing of the people, because the disciples who do not take anything with them and take only peace indicates that they trust people. He believes that he will be received and the people will feel appreciated, valued, and confirmed. The laborer has the right to his nourishment. In doing this, the disciple criticizes the laws of exclusion and recovers the ancient values of sharing, of community living. That is the invitation Jesus gives us today, to live together and to integrate oneself in the community. Arriving at a place, the disciples have to choose a house of peace, and they should remain there until the end. They should not go from one house to the next, but rather live in a stable way. They should become members of the community and work for peace. That is, to reconstruct the human relationships which will favor peace. By means of this practice, they recover an ancient tradition of the people. They criticize the culture of accumulation, typical of the politics of Roman Empire, and they announce a new model of living together, and that is the arrival of the kingdom of heaven. That means, dear friends, as we are celebrating today the feast of Saint Barnabas, we are invited, along with the disciples, to live the life of Christ Himself. We live trusting in the providence of God. We live that intense community life. When we depend on the providence of God, God will provide everything that is required for our daily sustenance. And at the same time, through our life, we will continue to proclaim the good news of God's kingdom that is very close and that is within us, in our community and in our surrounding. And that will certainly bring peace within ourselves, and we will be able to share that wonderful peace of Christ with others. God bless you.